Salam alaikum, grüß Gott, bonjour, privet, dobar dan, and welcome to this video. In this one, I want to talk solely about the Unico Primo by Unison Research. In one of my recent videos, I had a, do you call it Freudian slip? I don't know. So if you say something unconsciously or not intended, something that you didn't intend to say, but you just said it. I called this amp the best amp I had so far. But if you remember, or if you watched my videos or know this channel, I had the Sugden 821 SE before. So which one is better? And in my opinion, it's very hard to decide, because this Unico Primo is a little bit more powerful. So I think it can handle the bass driver with more ease at lower volumes. But I usually listen at low to mid volumes. So the Sugden is very special. I can't take anything away from that. I couldn't anyway. Who am I to take anything away from that craftsmanship? But this amp is special. While the Sugden costs 4,000 euros, this one only costs 2,000 or 2,500 euros. And this has a tube in its preamp section and then transistors as it's in its output section. What is it? A toroidal transformer and a powerful power supply and transistors. So they call it a dynamic class A design. Now, tonally pure like class A and dynamic like class AB. And I can hear it. In my opinion, the Sugden sounds even, can I say it, clearer or even purer tonally, but this Unico Primo is so raw. It is so pleasing. It is lively and smooth at the same time. And when I say smooth, I mean long listening sessions are no problem. And when I watch a documentary, I don't want to turn down the volume. It is so good. Let's start with high notes. High notes are lovely, but not sharp whatsoever. Not one of them. Even with less good recordings. So, and in my opinion, that is hard. And I want to give you one example so you know what I mean. In my opinion, Adele's voice is not always pleasing. There are some tones, some notes which she can sing very beautiful. And some tones, her voice is sometimes a bit too, can I say unease, a bit too, I don't know. In my opinion, she's a great singer, but I don't like some parts of her singing. So with this amp, it is lively, but it takes away some of this sharpness and is still a crisp amp. And that is special. In my opinion, that is very, very special. To stay crisp, but take away this spikes. Amazing. Now the mid-range is tonally, I mean, not thin. It is not, I would call it neutral. I want to call it neutral, but lush at the same time, but not warm lush. I don't know how to explain it, but it is what I hear and how I would describe it. It is not thin, not I wouldn't say it's emotional, but it is lush, and I like that about it. No matter what, if it is a voice, a male or female voice, if it is instruments or in documentaries, if it is a car or whatever, a door opening and closing, that's always that's my new example. A door opening and closing, everything sounds so natural with this amp. And then there's the bass, which is powerful and quick. I would ask you now, what else do you want or need from an amp sonically? Now, I know I would love to have an amazing integrated DAC. That is what I would like to have. And a streamer. And it should be small, right? Okay, but this is a classic analog amp. In my case, I have it with a phono input, and MC. That is, I guess, great for people who listen to vinyl. I don't. And I can only tell you how it sounds with a CD player, the Project CD Box S3, and my streamer. Now, this amp I had with a speaker before that was, in my opinion, hard to drive or hard to make. I will tell you the whole story. Now, I had the ELAC Vela before. Again, if you know my channel, you know I had the ELAC Vela 403 or 403.2, but the one with the Jet 5 tweeter. And that Jet 5 tweeter is a very airy tweeter. But with airy, I don't mean that it has crisp highs. It is airy, really very light, I would say. But I like if high notes have some weight to them. I like that kind of liveliness. And this amp, from the first second on, gave me exactly what I wanted with the ELAC Vela 403, the bookshelf speaker. It was lively but not sharp. Even high notes, treble, triangles and so on had weight, but weren't sharp, weren't annoying or whatever. So long listening was no problem. And that was the moment when I knew that this amp is special sonically. It is really, really special. And that was also the moment when I knew that the ELAC Vela can sound the way I want it to sound. And after that, I had the chance to listen to the Totem Sky, which I liked even more than the ELAC Vela. That's why I kept the that's why I kept the Totem Sky. And now I moved on to a speaker that I could compare maybe, or I should compare in the future, to the Totem Element Ember. This speaker is the Cabas Murano. This is just a step up in some regards from the Totem Sky, but as I said, or as I will say in my video about the Totem Sky, tonally, Totem is just king, in my opinion, and in my taste, in my room, with my setup and so on. In my opinion, even if it gets much more expensive, Totem is still the king of tone and Pratt. Especially this Pratt aspect is special about Totem. This pace, rhythm and timing, this rhythm factor is unbelievable with Totem speakers. And you know what? This amp was amazing with the Totem Sky, as it is with the Cabas Murano. And now I can tell you something about this amp. It drove these three different speakers. One has and the first, the Vela, is a 4 ohm speaker which digs down to under 3 ohms, and it is a speaker with a AMT tweeter, the so-called Jet 5 two-way. The Totem Sky is also a two-way speaker, but with a dome, with a big, I think, silk dome tweeter, 1.3 inches. And this Cabas Murano is a three-way speaker with a very high, with a very, very heavy subwoofer. So with subwoofer, I mean the woofer. You know, it's itself weighs 4 kilos. I don't know if that makes it a bit harder to drive. I don't know, but right away I listened to this Cabas Murano with three different amps. With this Unico Primo with the XTZ A2300, a powerful Class D amp, and with one of my favorite amps, tonally, the Heat Elixir. And this amp, the Unico Primo, is tonally as beautiful. I would say it sounds even better than the Heat Elixir. This is just a better amp than the Heat Elixir. It is tonally even more pleasing, even more natural than the Heat Elixir, and as powerful as the XTZ A2300. And I don't know if it is as transparent. Maybe the A2300 is even more transparent, but sounding a bit thinner. And that is a no-go for me. So this Unico Primo is the one for now with this pair of speakers. Powerful, lush, and open mid-range. The voice or the instruments or the sound events in a film or documentary, everything detaches itself so easily from the speakers and just is in the room, in the air. It is really amazing. I have no doubt that the tube in the preamp section does its own thing, which contributes to this presentation. All in all, this speaker has its place as my best amp so far, next to the Sugden A21 SE, which costs almost double the price. So that is how good this amp is. It is quite deep. I think more than, or is it? It is about 40 centimeters deep. Here you can see the toroidal transformer, and here you can see the tube. And here even a bit more, but it is safely hidden. It has two input terminals. So when I say two, I mean input terminals for 4 speakers. You could also B-wire one pair of speakers. I asked Unison Research or an employee at the Munich high-end show if I would have an advantage doing that, and he said, not really. So I didn't try that 4-to-4 approach. So this is it. If you have the chance to listen for yourself, do it in your room with your speakers. I have no doubt that you will like the sound of this one. I didn't talk about the looks. I mean, I would love to have a white front instead of this bright gray or the other black one, but that's just my taste. So when it comes to the sound, this amp is hard to beat, I guess. So especially for the price, I don't know how good amps for 10 or 20 or 50,000 euros can sound, but this is really amazing. So I think before I step up in the amp game, I would step up and try another speaker or another source. But this one is amazing. This CD Box S3 powered again by the AccuBox S2 from Project. With that power supply, it sounds just, I don't know I don't know if a source can sound even better when it just gives me the sound of a CD. I mean, I have no doubt it can, but how much do I have to pay for that? And these together cost less than 1,000 euros. And now let's see what the future brings. For now, thank you very much. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comments below. I will answer within a few minutes or hours. And that's it for this one. Have a nice day or night. Bye bye.